Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and join this fast-growing community that brings you the most gripping anonymous confessions, mature stories, and emotional twists every single week. If you love deep storytelling with real feeling tension, secrets, and unforgettable moments, this is the channel you don't want to miss. I've always believed life gives you warnings before it turns sideways. A subtle shift in routine. An unexpected message. A quick glance that feels like a spark striking dry wood. But when she called me that evening, her voice low, uneven, and crackling through the static, I didn't think twice. I should have asked why she sounded like someone standing too close to a fire. I should have hung up and left it alone. But I didn't. Instead, I just listened. I shouldn't be calling you, she whispered. But right now, you're the only person I feel safe talking to. Safe. That word scraped against something inside me. I was never her husband, never her confidant, never anything that society would approve of. But she chose to call me. And I let that fact work its way beneath my ribs like a hook. The truth? We weren't emotionally attached. Not in the way people expect. Not in the romantic, star-crossed, poetic sense. She'd told me that herself one night, you and I? We're not that. We're something else. I believed her. Or at least I told myself I did. When I arrived at the quiet corner cafe where she asked me to meet her, she sat tucked into the back booth, eyes darting around like the shadows were whispering secrets she hoped no one else could hear. She wasn't afraid of being caught, her husband wasn't the suspicious type. He trusted her blindly, which made her feel invisible, not cherished. She told me that once. A woman can suffocate in trust if there's no attention behind it, she said. I didn't have a reply then, and I still don't. That night, she barely touched her drink. She looked at me the way someone looks at a stranger they shouldn't be confessing to, but can't stop themselves. She talked about everything except the thing sitting between us. The thing we both pretended not to name. Then, without warning, she said the words that would shift everything. I can't tell anyone what's happening in my head, but I can tell you. It wasn't romance. It wasn't love. It was something messy, two people drowning for different reasons but happening to grab the same piece of driftwood. And I should have walked away. But when her hand brushed mine across the table, something in me closed the exit door. I didn't know what this was becoming. I only knew this. I had no emotional attachment to her husband. She had no emotional attachment to me. But the choices we made after that night weren't built from logic. They came from the kind of collision you don't forget. And the kind that changes everything. She always had rules. Lines she swore she'd never cross. Promises she made to herself, not to him. Promises that made her feel like she still owned a piece of her life. She wasn't unhappy in her marriage, just unseen. She once told me her husband loved the idea of her, not the real woman sitting beside him every night, quietly fading beneath the weight of being perfect. But the night after the cafe, everything felt different. She didn't text me. She didn't call. And I told myself I was relieved. That whatever strange current had passed between us had dissolved in the morning light. That she'd come to her senses. But around midnight, my phone lit up with a single message. Are you awake? 3 words. 3 little sparks. I don't know why I answered. Maybe curiosity. Maybe loneliness. Maybe because she sounded so close to breaking the night before that her silence felt louder than her voice. I typed back a simple yes. She gave me her laughter. Her fears. Her hopes. Her hunger to feel alive. Not love. Not devotion. Just raw, human truth. I held that secret like a fragile glass figurine, carefully, quietly, knowing it wasn't mine to keep forever. But while she allowed it, I protected it. She never said she loved me. She never said she wanted a future with me. She never even asked me to stay. And yet, every time she walked through my door, she exhaled like she was stepping into a world where she didn't have to pretend. That was the real attachment. Not emotional, but existential. A place where she remembered she was still alive. It ended the way all fragile things do, quietly. No confrontation. No drama. No goodbye letter. Just a slow, inevitable fading. She didn't come over 1 week. Then 2. Then a full month passed with only a few short messages, each one colder than the last. I knew what was happening. She was rebuilding her walls. One morning, she sent me a message that didn't surprise me but still stung. I can't keep doing this. I don't regret anything, but I can't keep stepping outside myself just to feel alive. I need to find that feeling in my own life again. I stared at the screen for a long time. Not hurt. Not angry. Just accepting. Because I always knew she wasn't mine. She was a moment. A season. A storm passing through. She didn't leave because she stopped caring, she left because she finally started caring about herself again. A month later, she sent one final message. I never loved you. But I needed you. And I'll always be grateful that you let me be anonymous with you. That was the truth of what we were. Not lovers. Not soulmates. Not a hidden romance. Just two strangers who collided at the exact moment they both needed a secret. We crossed the line. Not through wild passion. Not through emotional declarations. Not through promises. But through surrender. Two people who weren't supposed to meet in that space found themselves standing in the same unspoken need. We didn't fall in love that night. We didn't destroy anything that already existed. We just stepped into a place we couldn't step back out of. And even though she kept saying she had no emotional attachment to me, her shaking hand said otherwise. People assume that secrets are heavy because of the guilt. But the truth? The heaviest secrets are the ones someone trusts you with voluntarily. The ones they place in your hands because they have nowhere else to put them. She trusted me with pieces of her she never showed the world. The more she came over, the less guarded she became. She told me about her childhood, about the dreams she smothered to become the wife everyone expected her to be. She told me about the parts of marriage that looked perfect on the outside but felt hollow on the inside. She laughed easily around me, freer, looser, as if she had unbuttoned a version of herself she rarely let out. One evening, as she lay with her head on my lap, quietly tracing patterns on my wrist, she said something that lodged itself into my chest. I wasn't looking for you. I wasn't even looking for this. But I needed something that belonged only to me. Her voice trembled like she was afraid of her own honesty. I don't want you emotionally, she added. I don't want complications. I just want a place where I don't feel invisible. She wasn't running from love. She was running from emptiness. Her secret wasn't the physical moments we shared. Her real secret was the emotional space she carved out between us, one that didn't require labels, expectations, or promises. People talk about lines like they're bright and obvious, neon, flashing, screaming stop. But in real life, lines blur. Fade. Shift beneath your feet while you're too focused on the person standing in front of you. The night we crossed that line wasn't planned. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't even intentional. It was quiet. We were sitting in my apartment, a place she'd never stepped into before. She looked around with a soft smile, like she was studying the life of a man she'd only known through conversations and late-night confessions. No judgment, just curiosity. You live like someone who doesn't expect visitors, she said. I don't get many, I replied. You let me in, she whispered. That hit me harder than it should have. We sat on the edge of the couch, side by side but not touching. The tension wasn't physical, it was emotional. That strange kind of gravity pulling two people closer even when they swear they're not attached. She talked about her husband, though not in the way people assume. She wasn't angry. She wasn't bitter. She wasn't plotting to leave. She was simply lost. I feel like a ghost in my own life, she said. And every time I try to explain it, I get told I'm overthinking. I didn't tell her what she wanted to hear. I didn't tell her she was right. I didn't tell her she was wrong. I just said, I see you. That broke something in her. She looked at me suddenly, eyes filling with something too complicated to name. Vulnerability. Relief. Fear. Maybe all three tangled together. She leaned in, not confidently, not seductively, but like someone falling toward warmth after being cold for too long. I don't want to think tonight, she whispered. I just want to feel human again. Her forehead rested against mine. Our breaths mixed. And the world shrank down to that one impossible moment neither of us had prepared for. She wasn't caught by her husband. She wasn't ashamed. She simply chose to disappear from my life the same way she appeared, quietly and without warning. As for me? I don't regret it. Not because of what happened between us. But because she showed me something I didn't know I needed. A reminder that even temporary connections can shift the ground beneath your feet. I had no emotional attachment to her. She had none to me. But life doesn't follow rules. Sometimes. Things just happen. And some stories are meant to be told. Only by the people who lived them. This story is a work of fiction created purely for entertainment and storytelling purposes. It does not encourage infidelity, inappropriate behavior, or real-life wrongdoing. Viewer discretion is advised due to mature themes. All characters are anonymous and not based on real individuals. Thanks for listening till the end. If this story pulled you in, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more shocking confessions, mature narratives, and stories that stay with you long after they're told. Share your thoughts below, and who knows, your comment might inspire the next big story.